Hi, team. This is George. I'm recording this from outside, so I hope there's not too much disturbance from vehicles and things. It's just a nice day. So I wanted to go over the project proposal part two. I'm very happy with what I've been seeing in the part one of the proposals. You should have all your feedback there. If not, send me a quick email and I'll make sure to see what I did wrong. But let's go over part two real quick. So part two, think of it like a continuation. So now we have part one that was done. We have our overview, things like that. Now we're going to dig in a little bit deeper. So let's go ahead and look at part two. The overview here, you can read all that. I wanted to talk really quickly about why I like rapid prototyping and the analysis phase. And the reason why I like this is because we actually get to start kind of seeing how things are going to fit together right away. Sometimes I even go to the point where I'll build little mock-ups if it doesn't take me too far, too much time and effort to do that, just to see how things fit together once my initial analysis is done. So that's kind of the power of the prototype, because next, after this phase two is done, we're going to start constructing the prototype. So we're going to design and build almost at the same, well, literally at the same time. And that's the power of the prototype, because I like to see things and kind of see how they fit. Yes, once my analysis is done, I have the concept and everything ready to go, but then I need to start seeing it. And this gives me the opportunity of saying, this needs to be changed, that needs to be changed, or it would be better if. So that gives some fluidity within the process for the design and build. Um, so I just want to kind of point that out. So that'll be the next week. This week we're going to finish our proposal, and the next week we get to kind of jump in and start gluing parts and pieces together to see how it works, I should say. So here is our paper. This week, we're going to take a more in-depth analysis of the learner. What does that mean? What skills or knowledge might they have? What are their needs? What analysis have you conducted? So what that means whenever I hear learner analysis is think from the question of how would they learn this the best? So not what content am I going to give them, because if I'm thinking about the content I'm going to give them, I'm kind of missing the mark a little bit. Uh, the real question is, what is the best way for the learners to learn this? So think from that sort of the process as you're looking at learner analysis. What do they need to learn this the best? How can I facilitate their learning rather than what information do they need? So think about that analysis from that perspective. So when you look at learner attributes, what do they need to learn this the best? What skills do they already have that may facilitate them learning this the best? What needs do they have that need to be met for them to learn this the best? So that's sort of the process of thinking from a learner-centered perspective, which from seeing projects one, pretty much we all do that. So I just thought it was to kind of bring that really home in this second part of the project. And then the proposed delivery method for the e-learning, where and which technologies you can use. So we're going to start diving into technologies a little bit more than we did in week one. So think about that. Think of that from a learner perspective. It's really easy, and I find myself doing this a lot. So I actually check myself personally when I'm designing and building what is best for the learner. Just because I like technology X, Y, or Z doesn't mean that's the best for them. So think from that learner-centered perspective as well there. Your intended instruction, you're thinking about what you will be teaching. Well, this is kind of a Horton sort of thing here, right? Well, what if you think about everything from that learner-centered / maker perspective? Then it's going to be, what will the learners be learning? So just think about it from there. So we still have to instruct, but the instruction comes from the perspective of how will they learn this the best. So I hope that kind of makes sense. If not, I can clarify that a bit. But that personally has made a big difference in my design and everything else. So yes, we have to have instruction, but the way the learner is going to learn it the best speaks into how I instruct. So that's all about that. The assessment plan. The assessment plan, we have a lot of different amazing projects that we're working. So for your assessment plan, for your personal project, think about how does the learner know when they know? It has to be very clear because we want them to know that they know. If it's a skill, whatever it may be, how do they know what they know? And think about that. And also, do yourself a favor. It's not really a part of this project, but think from a systems perspective as well. How do I know from an assessment perspective, how do I know if this is helping my organization? Is it possible to get to a level 4 assessment with this? I don't know, just some different thoughts. We don't have to do that for this particular piece, but it's always helpful to think from that perspective as well. And in our submission, we have the analysis phase, target analysis, all that. You can read that just well. And our rubric. All of these, you're going to include all of these. Make any revisions that need to be made, either if I gave you something to revise or some peer review guy give you a great idea, or if you just want, or you saw something that you could do better, this is the time to revise that. Because remember, we're rapid prototyping, so let's make some revisions. Now, if you're comfortable with everything, proceed forward. But go ahead and make sure everything is in depth. I told you I'm outside, so here comes some sort of machine in gas machine. Lawnmower, we're mowing lawns. So your front end analysis added to the front end of your e-learning document. So we want to further define all of these. Remember, the instruction, the delivery method, and the assessment plan. Think from the learner perspective. How does their learning speak into my intended instruction? How does the proposed delivery method speak into what they need? And how does my assessment plan speak into how they know when they know? So I hope this is helpful from a perspective standpoint, and I really look forward to seeing what everyone turns in. So have a fantastic week.